ICE agents have made headlines once again, this time arresting New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, a mayoral candidate, during a tense encounter at a city courthouse. Lander intervened as agents detained an individual for immigration violations, refusing to release his grip until shown a judicial warrant. This act, which Lander described as a stand for justice, resulted in his arrest on charges of obstruction. Videos of the incident, posted by his campaign, quickly spread online, sparking debates about the role of local leaders in federal immigration enforcement. Lander's actions mirrored a growing trend among progressive politicians challenging ICE operations. His supporters argue that ICE often operates without transparency or accountability, citing the absence of judicial warrants in many arrests. Critics, however, claim that Lander's behavior was a political stunt designed to bolster his mayoral campaign.
The timing, they argue, aligns with heightened national tensions surrounding immigration policies under the Trump administration.
The controversy comes as ICE ramps up efforts to detain and deport individuals residing in the U.S. without legal documentation. This includes reopening shuttered prisons to add thousands of new detention beds nationwide. Critics of these expansions argue they cater to private prison companies through no-bid contracts, raising ethical and financial concerns. ICE, however, defends the move as necessary to handle the administration's increased enforcement directives. The debate over immigration enforcement extends beyond Lander's arrest. In recent months, protests have erupted across the country, challenging ICE's tactics and advocating for undocumented individuals' rights. Opponents of ICE argue that these operations instill fear in immigrant communities, disrupting families and livelihoods. Meanwhile, supporters of stricter enforcement point to cases of illegal workers using fraudulent documents, which they say undermine the integrity of the labor market. A recent raid at a meatpacking facility highlights this divide. Over 100 individuals were detained, all using fake IDs. In the aftermath, American workers quickly filled the vacant positions, debunking claims that U.S. citizens refuse such jobs. Proponents of stricter immigration policies argue this demonstrates the economic harm caused by undocumented workers, who often accept lower wages and bypass legal hiring processes. President Trump's administration has vacillated on targeting specific industries, initially pausing raids on farms and hospitality businesses before resuming them. This shift reflects concerns about the economic impact of aggressive enforcement on industries reliant on undocumented labor. Yet Trump's renewed push for deportations, coupled with expanded detention facilities, signals a hardline approach to immigration. ICE has defended its actions as humane, pointing to facilities with amenities like soccer fields, libraries, and computer labs. Critics, however, argue these descriptions mask the reality of detention, where individuals await uncertain futures far from their families. Activists claim these centers are tools of intimidation rather than justice, fueling further division on the issue. Lander's arrest has also reignited debates about local versus federal authority. Advocates for immigration reform argue that cities like New York, which pride themselves on being sanctuaries, should resist federal overreach. Conversely, opponents assert that local interference undermines the rule of law, hindering ICE's ability to enforce immigration policies effectively as protests and political standoffs continue. The broader question remains, how should America balance compassion for immigrants with the need for border security? Lander's supporters hail him as a courageous leader standing against injustice, while his detractors label him a lawbreaker, exploiting a national debate for political gain. Ultimately, the incident underscores the deep divisions surrounding immigration policy in the U.S., with federal enforcement ramping up and local resistance intensifying. The nation faces a critical crossroads.
The resolution of these tensions
Will shape not only immigration policy, but also the broader dynamics of power between local and federal governments.